Things change, let's face it. Preferences change. One day, audiences can't get enough of John James Rambo, and the next day, studios realize we need a more grounded and savvy hero like John McClane, an everyday detective with the NYPD who's just trying to keep his marriage together. That worked. It sometimes does, but not always. Point in case, when executives decided to update Star Trek for the modern audience, J.J. Abrams came along and deconstructed the Trek we all know and love. They downgraded William Shatner for Chris Pine. They took their hands off the pulse of the fandom and gave us a more modern rendition in 2009. It wasn't that bad, but it was going down a dark path. What does it mean to be a modern rendition of Star Trek? Well, Abrams had some ideas, and so did Justin Lin. But at the heart of the new Trek vision was the man who gave us such cinematic gold as Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen,
I am directly below! Enemy scrotum!
and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Two films more devoid of creativity and substance than a Greta Gerwig movie marathon. I'm talking about Alex Kurtzman. New Star Trek was his baby, and we're seeing the unholy seed of his vision playing out in today's films and shows. So how does Starfleet Academy compare to the OG Star Trek? And is it more of the same garbage, or will it take us boldly into the renaissance of the franchise? I'm sure if you're one of the dozens of people that love Discovery or Section 31, which I've reviewed in my own special way,
Crap. Pure, unadulterated crap.
you've been anxiously awaiting Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So here's the breakdown. This takes place a century or so after the mythological, fabricated, and forced event known as the Burn. I really don't care about it because it's kind of horse shit, but I'll break it down quickly. Most of the dilithium crystals are apparently entangled, and so they become inert and they blow up or some shit like that. How did it happen? Don't know, and I don't think Kurtzman knows either. Okay, the opening scene is She-Hulk holding her little baby boy for the last time because she's a criminal. And Elastigirl is gonna do the unthinkable, put her and her boss, Paul Giamatti, in jail for murdering someone. Makes sense, right? Killed someone, go to jail. But oh shit, Elastigirl doesn't believe in the laws, so she begins her 10-year pouting session. At the same time, the little shit outsmarts her, the Federation, and apparently logic by taking her comms badge and escaping a secure facility while the planet is crapping a convenient apocalyptic sandstorm all over him. That's when the storm kills him and the show ends. Nah, this show couldn't care less about logic. So if you can deal with a 4-year-old kid surviving a hurricane of sand and are insane enough to think this is gonna get better, you're probably one of the few people that thinks Badlands was the next Citizen Kane. And you're still watching this show. So 15 years after the family separation, most likely the fault of the Orange Man, we find the 400-year-old Elastigirl on Bajor or some planet like that. She's misguiding children about crime and punishment.
If you did the thing, you fess up. That way, you can negotiate your terms.
She's this hippie ex-captain, don't you know? And she has no understanding about how laws work, so she's confronted by this old important dude in a uniform and bribed to accept the position as Chancellor of Starfleet Academy. How do they bribe her, you ask? By promising to reunite her with the little criminal that survived the Sand Holocaust, who's in custody, ready for torture and interrogation. Well, at least that's how it played in my mind. Nah, he's safe. So we find the little boy is now a pissed off multiple felon and a muscle and fitness model. Since the cat lady doesn't understand how the law works, she asks the felon to join the elite of elites as a Starfleet cadet. Remember Starfleet? You know, the organization that represented the best minds and the most disciplined characters in the galaxy? Well, that's gone. They take the misaligned orphan that has no respect for authority, a history of violence, and a total disregard for human life. That's the new Starfleet.
Should we admit a murderer?
Of course, it's the new Starfleet.
This is when the criminal is taken aboard the Athena, Starfleet's first female starship.
Athena, what seems to be the problem?
Nothing. It's not like you care.
But wait.
If you can't figure it out, forget it.
And for some reason, it looks like a cruise ship. Then the dark, brooding, and dangerous criminal walks into the transporter. That's where they groom him, give him a new Starfleet uniform, and promptly remove his balls. because he's turned into a spineless little man baby that's intimidated by the blue pumpkin woman and shamed into doing push-ups. Now I don't get this. This big, tall, badass guy is squirming on the floor after doing like 10 push-ups. What the f***? I, for one, am glad that we've made so many strides in inclusivity. This is a new Starfleet.
The new Starfleet, where the patriarchy is the biggest enemy.
The first female captain of all time. The first female number 1. The first female drill sergeant and first female starship, the Athena. Next, we're introduced what I can only assume is some kind of gender fluid Klingon.
And Klingons are gender fluid.
He gets picked on. He was taught to love birding by what I could only assume was a toxic mother that was okay with her son getting his ass kicked daily. Kinda like Boy Named Sue, but in the reverse. We now arrive at the point where Captain Hippie Cat gives her commencement speech.
And a captain can just lounge all day like she's some kind of hippie cat.
The screen fades to names of prominent captains like Pike, Uhura, and Spock. All the greats. But wait, absent is the toxic male, James T. Kirk. I'm so glad we're done with him and the original series. Good riddance to all the old patriarchy. I'm not gonna talk too much about the obese cadet that thought her comms badge was a pizza.
I think I swallowed my comm badge.
Already?
Or the chubby hologram that could have been programmed to pretty much look like anything. But they made her fat. What assholes. So the Athena is off to transport the students to San Francisco and begin classes. But oh the criminal begins to criminal and gets the Athena spotted by Paul Giamatti. It gets ambushed and disabled. What do the experienced crew officers do next? They fuck right off and let the kids try and save the ship. What the literal f***? See, Paul Giamatti has the ability to disable the starship with these Stranger Things tentacle roots, and he torpedoes the crap out of it. So the criminal fitness model finds a way to dislodge those tentacles off the ship, and for some reason, they just trust him. But first they need a sample, and instead of sending the hologram into space to gather that sample, a hologram that doesn't need air and doesn't freeze in space, they send this blue dude who can die in space. And that's so they can manufacture some forced drama and tension. So criminal fitness model defeats a Stranger Things space tentacles with little explanation and less backstory of his abilities. That's because bad behavior gets rewarded on this show. But Paul Giamatti figures, I know I'm a spud, I know I'm 5'6", I know I'm 58 years old, but I'm gonna fight this 6'2" muscle fitness model criminal. Of course, Giamatti gets his ass kicked and gets away through these escape pods because of course the fucking lady ship has no sensor array and can't track the escape pod leaving. So that's Star Trek now, or is it? Episode 1 was released on YouTube for free 5 days ago. It's sitting at 181,000 views and 7,000 likes to 24,000 dislikes. Metacritic has it at a 1.7, Rotten Tomatoes at a 43%, and IMDb at 4.4 out of 10 with 8,900 reviews. It's not good. It's not even okay. But it's not the worst thing that Star Trek has produced. That honor goes to Section 31. Still, this is bad. Real bad. It's act like Star Wars bad. I'm sure that dozens of fans are gonna want a season 2, which might happen unfortunately. But honestly, I don't care how much money Paramount loses here or how much they piss on the corpse of Star Trek. I, for one, am happy it exists. It validates all the excesses that the world knew Kurtzman was about. And it's damn good content for YouTube creators. Well, if you're one of the few that watched it and the couple that liked it, for God's sakes, let me know why. And as always, keep watching movies.